Hello, everyone. I'd like to share a new book today called Thank You, Amu. And I want you to notice this Caldecott Honor Medal means that it won an award for one of the best picture books. And this medal, the Coretta Scott King Medal, the author and illustrator is new, and it won an award for the new talent. So this is a really special book by Oge Mora, who lives in Providence and went to the Rhode Island School of Design, and that's where she developed all these wonderful illustration skills. So let's enjoy her book together. I think you'll really like the story. It's all about sharing. And she writes here in the beginning, Amu is the Igbo term for queen. But she says later on, the author tells us later on that Amu, growing up, Amu meant grandmother. That's what she called her grandmother. So this story is all about her grandmother. Thank you, Amu. On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned and stirred it and took a small taste. What a delicious stew, Amu said. Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I have ever had. With that, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until someone was at the door. When Amu opened it, she saw a little boy. Little boy, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell, the little boy replied. What is it? Thick red stew. Stew, he sighed. That sure sounds yummy. Amu thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. Would you like some? The little boy nodded, and so Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the little boy said, and went on his way. With that, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. As she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall toward the street, and around the block until someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door, this time she saw a police officer. Miss Police Officer, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my house? I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell, Miss Police Officer replied. What is it? Thick red stew. Ah, stew, she said, and her mouth watered. That sounds mighty tasty. Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. Would you like some? The police officer nodded. Once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you, Amu," the officer said, and went on her way. And so, for the second time, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until knock, knock, knock. Again, someone was at Amu's door. This time, when she opened it, she saw a hot dog vendor. "Mr. Hot Dog Vendor," Amu exclaimed, "what brings you to my home?" "I was selling my hot dogs down the block when I smelled the most delicious smell," Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied. "What is it?" "Thick red stew." "Ooh, stew." The vendor licked his lips. "That sounds quite delicious." So Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you, Amu," the hot dog vendor said, and he went on his way. Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a dancer, a lawyer, an artist, a baker, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker. Even the mayor stopped by. Look at all those people. And each time when they knocked on the door, Amu shared. Soon the sky darkened, the streetlights brightened, and it was finally time for dinner. But when Amu opened the big fat pot of thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Oh. Amu sniffled. "There goes the best dinner I ever had." Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot until knock, 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 knock. Who could that be? Amu wondered. When she opened her door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker. Why, everyone she fed today was at her door. "I'm sorry, everyone," Amu sighed. "My thick red stew is all gone. I have nothing left to share." The little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve. "Don't worry, Amu. We are not here to ask. We are here to give." The police officer carried in a fresh salad. The mayor entered with a roast chicken. The baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Amu with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Amu's door that day squeezed inside her tiny apartment, and together they ate and danced and celebrated. While Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love. That dinner was the best she had ever had. Amu was such a giving person, and she shared everything she had with her neighbors. And it came right back to her. When her pot was empty, her neighbors came and shared with her. Sharing and being kind is so wonderful. Makes us feel good. I hope this story made you feel good. I'll see you soon.